Welcome to this deep dive. And, it's amazing how a simple story can really make you think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're diving into today. A parable called The Drop That Dreamt of the Ocean. This is by Pedro Elias.
Okay.
And it's all about trust and surrender and going after those big dreams, even when they feel kind of scary.
Yeah, and what I love about parables is how they take these really complex ideas like trust and surrender and make them relatable through these really simple images. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like anybody can understand a drop of water.
Exactly. So picture this.
Yeah.
You're this tiny water drop hanging out at a peaceful spring.
Yeah.
Life is good, right?
Right.
But then you suddenly get this huge vision of the ocean.
Whoa.
I don't know about you, but if I was that drop, I'd be like, whoa, my world just got a whole lot bigger.
That's exactly how Elias draws us in, right? The drop is us. The ocean becomes that dream that we're longing for. And then the river is, well, that's the journey of life itself.
Yeah.
Full of twists and turns.
And some of those twists and turns look a lot like terrifying waterfalls in this story.
That's right.
But before we get to the thrills and spills, I love how our little drop is not immediately on board with this whole ocean idea.
Right.
It's like, wait, leave my comfy spring. Are you serious?
Yeah, it's such a human response, isn't it? Like we crave growth, we crave fulfillment, but then the unknown, it can be paralyzing.
Yeah.
In psychology, there's actually a term for this. It's called the control illusion.
Right.
And it's this idea that we often cling to what's familiar because it gives us this illusion of safety,
Right.
even if it means, sacrificing our dreams in the process.
Yeah. You know that control illusion thing? Totally guilty of it.
Sure.
It reminds me of this one time, but okay, wait, I digress. Back to the parable.
Huh.
So we've got this drop facing a choice, right? Stay cozy in the spring
Or embrace the flow of the river, even if it leads to those, quite daunting waterfalls, right?
Yeah.
And this is where the parable, I think, goes beyond just a simple story and starts to feel like this roadmap for our own lives.
I like that, a roadmap.
Yeah.
Because let's be real for a sec, those waterfalls, they're the challenges, the uncertainties,
Nice.
things that make us want to just hide in our comfort zones.
Yeah.
I know I've had my share of those waterfall moments,
Oh, for sure. Me too. Absolutely.
Here's where the parable gets really interesting, right? Because it's not just about blindly jumping into the unknown.
Right. Yeah.
It's about choosing trust over fear.
Exactly.
And that's where this whole serenity thing comes in.
Yeah.
But it's not about giving up. It's about, what would you say?
Yeah.
Letting go of control.
Yeah. It's about surrendering to something bigger than ourselves, trusting that the river of life, even with the rapids and the waterfalls,
Yeah.
that it's going to lead us exactly where we need to be.
Okay, I can get with that, but easier said than done, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, even in the parable, the drop is terrified as it's going over that first waterfall.
Oh, yeah. And that's the beauty of it, Elias, he's not sugarcoating it. He's acknowledging that fear.
Yeah.
The fear that we feel with growth, with change. He's saying, look, it's going to be scary, but
Yeah.
what if on the other side of that you find something amazing?
And that's exactly what happens to the drop, right? By the second waterfall, it's not even scared anymore.
Yeah.
It's feeling joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that really hit me hard. It's like all the things we're most afraid of.
Yeah.
What if those are the things that we actually need to, feel really alive?
That's powerful. It really is. It makes you think about those times when maybe you chose that, the upstream path.
Right?
Maybe you stayed in a job that just wasn't doing it for you anymore.
Right.
Or you didn't take a chance on a relationship because you were scared.
Right.
What was the result, What happened?
And what about those times when you did take the plunge?
Hmm.
When you did trust the flow, even though it was scary?
I bet even though those times were challenging, you learned something about yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe you discovered a strength you didn't know you had, or you found a new passion.
Absolutely. Okay. So we've got this drop, embracing the ride, finding joy in the free fall. But what does it all mean for us? What's our ocean,
That's the big question, isn't it? What's that one big dream that you have? The one that both excites you and makes you a little bit nervous. The one that makes you feel really alive inside.
Yeah, so this parable is inviting us to find that, right?
To identify our own personal ocean.
But then it's also like, okay, now what? What do we do with that dream?
Right, because it's not enough just to dream it. We've got to actually go after it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? How do we take action?
Well, I think it starts with figuring out what those waterfalls are for you.
Mm-hmm.
What are those fears, those obstacles that might be holding you back?
Yeah.
And then finding a way to face them head on.
So what could someone listening do, like today, to take a step toward their own ocean, even a tiny step.
Even a tiny step, right? Because those are the steps that make all the difference.
Yeah.
Here's a thought for you to sit with, okay? Just imagine that your biggest dream, it's guaranteed.
Wow. Okay.
You will achieve it, but here's the catch.
Very
The
good.
path, it leads right through your biggest fear.
Oh, wow.
So I ask you, would you take that leap? And if not, what's really stopping you? Just something to think about.
That's a great question to leave us with. Thanks for diving in with us today.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.